For one, it's hoped for glory to come, and for the other, it's all about glory missed during this 2018-19 season. We'll see how it all turns out next as the Major Arena Soccer League presents the Florida Tropics as they host the Baltimore Blast. Greetings all, and thank you for choosing to spend a few minutes with us at the RP Funding Center here in Lakeland, Florida. This MASL matchup between the three-time defending Baltimore Blast and the Florida Tropics. The Blast already know what glory may be to come. They have a playoff date already set against Utica City FC. They will open that playoff series in Baltimore on Saturday, April 20th. Game 2 and the third and final mini game, if necessary, would be in Utica on April 22nd. A tough road for Baltimore if they are going to make it 4 in a row in the MASL. Utica City will give them a big run for their money, and very likely Milwaukee will be waiting the winner of that series, although Kansas City may have something to say about that. For the Tropics, a very disappointing season to date, just 6 wins in their 22 games. Injuries have riddled this roster right from the start of the season, but they will play in front of a large crowd here tonight, maybe the biggest of the season. They will certainly play with a lot of pride and enthusiasm and would love to end their home campaign in an even 500, 6-6, and leave a good taste in everyone's mouth heading into the off-season. For the Tropics, when you talk about one steady player, really one of their star players that has played in all but 2 games this year, and that is midfielder Victor Pereira. He is the team's leading scorer with 28 points, 15 goals, and 13 assists. The only man on the team to be in double digits in assists. He is Mr. Everything for the Tropics. He plays defense. He can score. He's Ricardo Villegas' Goomba, to be sure. So Victor Pereira's in need of a big game tonight for the Tropics, who once again find themselves a little bit shorthanded. The Baltimore roster, you can pick just about any name and highlight them as one of their key players tonight. It's Jonatas Mello that comes in as their leading scorer. He is dressed tonight. There are several Blast regulars that are not in the lineup, including William Venzela and Vinny Dantas, among others. We'll talk about that during the broadcast. But Mello is here. He's got 19 goals and 20 assists, and definitely will be one of the key players, not only tonight for Baltimore, but most notably when they hit the postseason. So these two clubs kind of going in opposite directions at the end of the season. This is the season finale, the regular season finale for Baltimore. Florida will have 1 game remaining, a real quick road trip next Saturday to nearby Orlando to take on the rival Seawolves. So that is the stage setter here tonight. Baltimore and Florida, friendly rivals in the Eastern Conference's Eastern Division for the last 2 years. They are not in the same division this year. Florida in the South Central, Milwaukee running away with the South Central with a 20-3 record, and Florida at the opposite end of that at just 6-16. As we mentioned, in the Eastern Division, both Utica and Baltimore 16-7, but it really does not matter who finishes first and who finishes second, as the situation in terms of home field and who will play where and when has already been decided for the playoffs. Nonetheless, we expect a very spirited and entertaining game here tonight as the Tropics close out the home portion of their schedule. The 3-time defending MASL champion Baltimore Blast and the Florida Tropics' next Major Arena Soccer League action kicks off in just a couple of minutes. Back at the RP Funding Center here in Lakeland, Florida. The starters for the Florida Tropics being announced here tonight. Hugo Silva will, of course, get the start in goal. Ricardo Villegas, the team's leading scorer, running through the greeting line now and getting ready for his hoped-for top performance. He had 9 goals in 2 home games here just a couple of weeks ago, a 5-goal game against Kansas City here on March 17th, which was a team record. And with some regulars out of the lineup tonight for Florida, among them Guilherme, who re-injured himself last week, his first game back in more than a couple of months. He is back on the shelf. And Anthony Arrico is not dressed tonight, another regular, as he will be serving a 1-game suspension due to penalty point accumulation. So a couple other regulars not dressed tonight also for the Tropics. So both teams a little bit shorthanded, but as we said, we expect a very spirited effort. Right now we're going to honor America with a singing of God Bless America. To the boys and girls from Churchwell Elementary for a great rendition of God Bless America. Good way to kick things off here tonight. We will be back with that kickoff in just a moment. The Florida Tropics and the Baltimore Blast MASL Soccer is next.
Conundrum here. Tommy Tanner was my ex-captain in Rochester, one of my closest friends. So I don't know want to cheer for it, Danny, but
For the Baltimore Blast, it's all about playoff preparation. They are in the postseason, and that is certainly no surprise for fans of the Blast or the Major Arena Soccer League. They have been to a league championship each of the last 8 years, starting with the Major Indoor Soccer League before the merger with the PASL. And since the merger, they have been to the championship series every season since. They have won the last 3 championships. It won't be as easy this year as it has been in past years, and trust me, it hasn't been easy. They have had to get through some really good teams like Monterey, and that epic win in Sonora a couple of years ago when Sonora and Frank Tayo looked like for all the world they had gotten the game winner with less than 20 seconds to go, only to have the Blast score 7 seconds after the Tayo goal to tie it and force the mini game that the Blast won. So the playoffs and the Blast are synonymous with each other. The Tropics are still waiting and still hoping to earn a berth to the postseason, this in their 3rd year. They thought they would be in that battle in the South Central, but right from day one, injuries, a huge problem. That you go back to December 1st, that home game, a good win, 9-4 over St. Louis, and things got off to a very good start. But there were ominous clouds even then. No Ricardo Villegas, no Freddie Mugin, the top leading scorers from the previous season. In fact, those two had combined for 50 of the team's 141 goals. So they, right from the start, were out of the lineup, and the injury situation just got worse as the Tropics and their fans honoring 2018-19 MVP goaltender Hugo Silva, who played up near Baltimore the last couple of seasons with the Harrisburg Heat. But Hugo been a rock and in a hard spot, if you will, for the Tropics. They have had all kinds of injuries, not only offensively but defensively as well. Played much of the season without really their 2 best defenders, and Lucas Monaleras and Lucas Teixeira. Both Lucases are in the lineup tonight. That is the good news. But as we alluded to just a couple of minutes ago, Guilherme, the team's 2nd leading goal scorer, who sat out for 2 months with a leg injury, came back last week, scored a goal, his 16th of the year, and then re-injured the leg, a different injury than he had that kept him out for a couple of months. This more of a quad injury on a shot from about 55 feet up that was just a rocket shot, and Guilherme immediately knew something was wrong, said he heard a little bit of a pop and walked gingerly to the bench not to return. Did get a chance to talk with him before the game a little bit tonight. He says feeling actually pretty good and looks like an injury that might be just a matter of weeks, not months, in terms of getting back out on the soccer pitch. And of course, many of these Florida Tropics indoor players also play in the United Premier Soccer League for the Tropics. The Tropics SC will have their home opener this coming Friday. For folks here in the Lakeland and Central Florida area, that is a 7:30 start at the Lake Myrtle Sports Park in Auburndale. And of course, the big news we hope coming next Wednesday, April 10th, the Lakeland Tropics, the Tropics Soccer Club's other developmental team in USL League 2, has been for the 2nd straight year invited to participate in the U.S. Open Cup. Very prestigious honor, and the Tropics are hoping to host an Open Cup game here in early May. The announcement of the first round matchups and venues will be made next Wednesday, so Tropics fans very anxiously await that. But in the meantime, we've got lots of indoor soccer to come here tonight between the Blast and Florida Tropics. As we said, these 2 teams played together in the Eastern Division for the Tropics' first 2 years in the league, so they are certainly no strangers to each other. They played 6 times 2 years ago, 6 times against each other last season. Baltimore holding a 9-3 advantage, including 4 of 6 here at the RP Funding Center as Andrew Hoxie misses on the short side. This is DeSantos with it. DeSantos knocked off the ball by Lucas Monaleras, but Lucas going to be called for the foul. Tropics wearing special uniforms tonight, celebrating Bond Clinic's 70th anniversary. Of course, Bond Clinic, the major sponsor of the Tropics, the uniform sponsor, and really the man in the organization that makes it all happen for the Florida Tropics. Bond Clinic and their owner, Dr. Panos Iacovitas. There's a shot, just misses wide. Rebound in front, and Silva will cover up. So Baltimore with a good scoring opportunity early. Here's Antonio Manfoot with the Goldilocks threads tonight. Said I wasn't sure before the game if it looked more like Little Red Riding Hood or Goldilocks, but hopefully Antonio will get a chance to celebrate in style as he usually does. He has been a terrific addition to the Tropics roster, coming over in a mid-January trade with the St. Louis Ambush. Here's Ricardo Villegas, gets it ahead to Rafa Alves, back to Ricardo. Shot, and Zierhofer makes the save. Mike Zierhofer in goal tonight, second straight start for Baltimore. No William Van Zela as he rests the bumps and bruises, getting ready for the playoffs in a couple of weeks. Baltimore does not play next weekend, which is the final weekend of the regular season in the MASL. The Utica City FC Club does play next weekend. They are off this weekend. They will finish on the road with a game in Orlando next Friday night, the night before the Tropics visit, as Zierhofer covers up the long ball into the Baltimore end of the field. No Vinny Dantas tonight. No Peruzzi. A couple other regulars sitting it out as well for Baltimore, certainly understandable. Dantas has missed a couple of games now with a knee injury, but should be ready to go against Utica City. Here's Antonio Manfoot, shot, and Zierhofer had to use all 6'5" of his frame to knock that one away. Good try by an Antonio Manfoot early. Here's Monaleras. Get it over to Jose Luis Berche, also a former member of the Harrisburg Heat. Back to team MVP Hugo Silva. And to Lucas Teixeira, who is not playing for the UPSL Tropics, but is the team's coach. And he is 1-0. The Tropics SC winning up at Disney's Wide World of Sports last week, 2-0. Here's Ricardo Villegas, tried to get it in front to Enzo Marangoni, but it's intercepted. And coming out of there is Juan Galvez. Zierhofer, native of Arnold, Maryland, so a local boy, grew up rooting for the Blast, I'm sure. In their days at the old Baltimore Arena. Of course, they now play at the beautiful new SECU Arena at Townsend State. Zierhoff looks deep into the zone where Galvez heads it over the crossbar. Silva will pick it up and outlet it quickly to Ricardo Villegas. Villegas can't track it down. Now Marangoni collides with Jamie Thomas, and Marangoni going to be called for the foul. Enzo Marangoni, a speed demon, really learning this game. He too missed a significant period of time with an injury earlier this year, but is a guy next year that the Tropics, I believe, will certainly count on to continue to improve as he learns really how to use that world-class speed in this indoor game. It can be such a weapon. Tony Donatelli going to take the restart here, or at least looks like he will. He's got Sigla Salifu also out there to his left. Down in the corner and right to Silva. Not much on that redirect chip by Jeremy Raley, and Silva handled it easily. Hugo's been battling a bunch of little and not so little injuries. Had a knee issue for a lot of the year. But he's answered the bell every time out. Only game he has not played this year was that game way back in December in Mississauga when most of the Tropics regulars were unable to make that trip because of work visa restrictions. There's Kaya Ruiz on the intercept, another good-looking young player that would figure to be part of the Tropics' future going forward. JP Reyes, the veteran, over to Lucas Monaleras now. Back over to Ruiz. Monaleras at the center circle. Watched by Salifu. Back to Silva. Silva will look downfield. He's got Rafa Alves there. Here's Manfoot. Shot! Great save, Zierhofer. Tremendous save as Manfoot let it go from about 20 feet, and Zierhofer was deep on the line and again used that big frame to get on top of it. Here's Manfoot. Has it knocked away, Baltimore will counter. Here comes T. Shipolani. Shipolani off the boards in front, knocked out of there by Fibo Arriaga. And Mello will track it down. and head to the bench. Santos was the intended target there, but it's knocked out of play, and Baltimore will get a restart here at the top of the penalty arc. This is always a dangerous moment. See what kind of a set piece Baltimore will come up with here. They bring Donatelli out and Mello, of course. DeSantos also on top. Here's DeSantos. A little back heel. There's a chance in front by Hoxie, knocked away. Rebound in front is knocked off the line. Good defensive work by the Tropics. Some fancy footwork and passing close in by the Blast, creating the opportunity. But we remain scoreless just a little more than 5 minutes in. Long ball down to Juan Pereira. It's being watched by Marangoni. Gets it back out to midfield to Donatelli. Down in the corner to Andrew Hoxie in front, and a nice defensive recovery by Alexi Cortez. And almost makes a bad giveaway, but gets it out of the zone. Villegas chips it to Marangoni. Oh, and Enzo just pushed it a little far too ahead of himself with that speed. Zierhofer read it well and came off the line. Needed to touch it just a little less forward. But that's exactly what we were talking about. Marangoni, as he learns this game and learns how to use that speed to his advantage, will, I think, have an opportunity to become a really good player and contribute to the Tropics over the next year or two. Here's a counter for Baltimore now. Silva comes out and he denies, and then a shot and a goal. So Silva with the initial save, but the Blast continued to press forward, and I think it'll be Salifu who gets credit for the goal. Here's a replay as it came loose, and yeah, it was Salifu right at the top of the box to slot it far post and give Baltimore that 1-0 lead here. Kind of a tough break for the Tropics. This is Arriaga with it, and he'll get it over now to Monolaris. This is the only meeting this year between the two clubs. Last time they played was all the way back in February last season up at the SECU Arena. That was a terrific ball game. The Blast hung on to win at 8-7. Here's a long bow down to Rafa Alves. He had a couple of goals on March 17th in a 12-8 win over Kansas City. Villegas gets it over to Lucas Teixeira. Alves, normally a defender, but in the absence of Guilherme and some others, he becomes the big 6'2 target forward up front. And as we saw against Kansas City, he knows how to score. For Salifu, that's his third goal of the season. Dressing for the 8th time here tonight. Intercept by Jamie Thomas. To Zierhofer and right back to Ibrahima Keita, number 14. Zierhofer will come off his line here. Gets it ahead to Daniel Oliveira. Oliveira loses it, however. The Tropics will control, and Silva will set things up from the back here. Gets it over to Lucas Monolaris. Good to have him back in the lineup. Played the full 90 in the UPSL opener for the Outdoor Tropics SC almost a couple of weeks ago now. Monolaris knocks Salifu to the turf, no whistle. Silva looks to outlet. He's got Villegas, and Villegas taken to the turf hard as he and Tony Donatelli collide. And trust me, there is not a lot of padding down there on the turf, and Kermit Quisenberry quick to come over and take a check, and he wants Tropics trainer Lloyd Knudsen to come take a look. With any luck, maybe just got the wind knocked out of him. And it is maybe just that as Villegas is up and gets a hand from the crowd. Ricardo been battling a bunch of injuries as well, shoulder and arm injuries. You can see the bandage up the arm, but hasn't been anything much wrong with his feet. 22 goals in 17 games this year. Really had missed about a whole half season of play going back to the middle of the outdoor season last year. Finally was diagnosed with a sports hernia surgery shortly before the Tropics indoor season opened, had the surgery, and played his first game December 29th. Long shot by Alvis, and that's wide by a couple of feet. Alvis tries to step up and keep possession, but Mello will counter for the blast. Gets it to Hoxie, taken away by Reyes. Good play by JP. Cleared back out to the midfield zone, but DeSantos will pick it up there for the blast. A little pressure by Reyes, so he plays it back to Zierhofer. Played his college soccer at Clemson University. Actually was just a club soccer player there and ended up being a walk-on for the Tigers. Here's a shot that goes well wide by Pereira. Melvin Boateng out for his first shift. Boateng, he's got some speed as well. Got along the boards and double teamed, lost it. And Dai comes out of there with it, but is whistled for the foul. Big crowd here tonight at the RP Funding Center. Might be the biggest crowd of the year and maybe the biggest crowd ever for the Tropics. They were expecting a big crowd, and they got one here tonight to send the Tropics off into the off-season. A win tonight for Florida would at least salvage a 6-6 home record and give everyone a little good feeling heading into the summer months when the team will retool. Here's a long shot, pretty good save as Berche let it fly from well outside the yellow line, and Zierhofer was able to track it down. Zierhofer got the start last week against Harrisburg and played very well. Got the loss, but just a 4-3 decision for Harrisburg. And I mean, I know he's not William Van Zela, but as backups go, he gave a pretty good accounting of himself last week, and so far has been sharp here tonight. Here's a steal by Pereiras. Tried to maybe get it ahead to Monolaris, thought better of it, as Victor needs to head to the bench and get some fresh legs. Good 1v1 move by Teixeira as the Tropics finish a line change here. Here's their Caio Ruiz. Back to Teixeira, now over to Monolaris, right back to Teixeira, head to Manfoot. Alvis deflects it. Ruiz tried to track it down, couldn't get there, and Galvis has it. Intercepted by Teixeira. Teixeira to Ruiz. Ruiz off the boards, Manfoot collects. Looks for some space to Rooms. Got about 3 defenders over there and is going to lose that battle. Math did not work. Thomas tries to get out of there with it for the blast and does, but Ruiz intercepts, and a whistle and a foul on Caio Ruiz. Got the elbow up a little bit. Much to the chagrin of a few of the players on the Tropics bench, wearing those sharp and special purple uniforms tonight on Fan Appreciation Night. You know, they've got a 65-inch television set to give away, a couple of kayaks and some other prizes, so hope if you're at the game you get a chance to walk home with some goods. At the very least, hope you get a chance to talk about a Tropics win at the end of the night. We'll see how it plays out. Here's Hoxie. Turns, fights through, gets a shot on goal, and Silva was able to get big and make the stop. Of course, Andrew Hoxie, one of the bigger, more physical players in the league as well. And no one will ever catch him in the world-class mustache category. We know that. Hoxie with it at the yellow line. He'll let it fly. Silva knocks it down. Reyes gets it ahead to Marangoni, who tried to flick it on for Boateng, but it goes out of play.
And now, fans, please direct
3:18 to play here in the first quarter. We're going to have an officials timeout on the floor. We'll step aside in just a moment. It's Baltimore 1, Florida no score. Back with more Major Arena Soccer League action in just a moment.
Florida Tropics.
Clay Roberts in his third season as coach of the Tropics. Some last-minute pieces of advice for his group. With 3:18 left to go here in the first quarter. Had a car accident or have a personal injury? Then look to Brooks, our official injury attorneys. Go to brookslawgroup.com or call 1-800-LAW-3030 for more information. And a special thanks, as always, to Regal Auto for sponsoring tonight's starting lineup, providing the spectacular vehicles game in and game out for the intros. I think it was the Chevy Suburban tonight. I think they called it the Texas edition, was it? It was big enough to allow Clay Roberts and his family to live in it, I think, comfortably. Spectacular vehicle, and we thank Regal Auto for their great support of Tropics soccer all season long. Of course, if it's not a Suburban you're looking for, they've got a huge selection of new Hondas, Acuras, GMCs, Kias, and Chevrolets, or the best pre-owned inventory anywhere. Go online to learn more at regallakeland.com, or you can visit one of their two dealerships here in Lakeland. One right there on Bartow Road, right next to the Tropics office. Here's a shot by Ndiaye, and that's blocked. Manfoot with a counter. Doesn't really have numbers. Tried to get it ahead to Cortez, but Alexi had that blocked by DeSantos. Whistle and a foul again. I believe that one's against Manfoot. Tropics really looking to get their offense in gear. They have been limited to just 3 goals in their last 2 games. 2 at home last week against Kansas City, and the week prior on the road against Milwaukee. In not one of their more spectacular nights of the season, lost 9-1. Good to see Ricardo Villegas back out there. Intercept by Manfoot. Now he's got numbers. Manfoot, long blast, and that's well over the glass and out of play. Victor Pereras and Ricardo Villegas gave him a number situation, but Manfoot went with the long shot. Get a chance, you can learn a little bit more about Ricardo Villegas and what's ahead with the UPSL team. It was our interview this past week on Tropics Weekly out at Ward's Air Conditioning. Thanks to Tim Rice and his group out there at Ward's for hosting us and being part of Tropics soccer. Inside 2 minutes to go here. Tropics would like to get an equalizer before the break. Pereira with it, being watched by Alves. Pereira has it taken away now by Victor Pereras of the Florida Tropics, who then actually trips on the ball, but does a good job to retain possession. Marangoni was obstructed. No whistle as Salifu got in the way. Here is Pereira. Pereira turned back by Arriaga. DeSantos will direct a little traffic. Enzo Marangoni on him. Deep in the left corner now to Hoxie. Tried to play it back to Cipollani, but it goes out of the play, so it'll be a kick in here for Florida. Tropics will send some fresh legs out. Jose Luis Berche gets it back to his goalkeeper Silva. Now to Arriaga and back to Silva. Maicon Franca and Ricardo Villegas up deep now for Florida. Villegas, after that 5-goal outburst against Kansas City on the 17th, been kind of quiet since, so be a good night for him to get back on the board. Here's Lucas Teixeira at the midfield circle. To Maicon Franco, over to Villegas, and it took just a funny bounce. Now Villegas rolls it through the box. Nobody back post. Ruiz battles in there and keeps it alive to Manoleras. Good work by Kai Ruiz to allow the Tropics to retain possession here. Final 20 seconds. One last opportunity for a push forward if the Tropics want to take it. I think Hugo realizes how little time is left. Not sure if everyone does. Villegas tries to position himself, can't take it off the boards, and that's going to bring the first quarter to a close as Franca makes the steal and takes a shot well after the buzzer. Don't know if he heard the horn or not, but Zierhofer was able to make the save as he did several times in the first 15 minutes. A big quarter for Mike Zierhofer, and he is rewarded with a 1-0 lead. The Blast ahead of the Florida Tropics. Second quarter, major Arena Soccer League action to come. Stay tuned. Well, no big surprise that the Tropics did not find the back of the net in that first 15 minutes, even without William Van Zela in goal. The only goal of that quarter belonging to Sigla Salifu. As you see the replay, Silva had made the initial save, but then the giveaway to Salifu right near the top of the box, and he made no mistake getting his third of the year. The Blast defense has been one of the best in the entire league this season. And in fact, you go over the last 5 games, they've allowed just 13 goals in those 5 games. As we said, the Tropics scored 12 in one game in a win over Kansas City here a few weeks ago. So 13 goals over 5 games, a pretty impressive streak of defensive work. Here's Alexi Cortez trying to track it down for the Tropics. Florida moving from right to left here. Here's Manoleras. Gets it ahead to Manfoot. Manfoot being challenged in there by Melo. And Melo comes out of there with it. Good two-way player, Melo. Both an assist guy and a goal scorer. That coming in tonight has gotten at least 1 point in each of the last 8 Baltimore games. Mike Diesel with it over to DeSantos. DeSantos, one of the better offensive defensive players in the league. Here's the long shot, well wide by Diesel. Of course, you get to the playoffs, which are just around the corner for Baltimore, and as much as we love the goals and the offense, ultimately, just like most sports, defense will win the championship in the long run, and never bet against William Van Zela and that blast defense. But it'll be a tough road. Utica City, obviously a very good side this year, thanks in part to a couple of Florida Tropics players, or past Florida Tropics players. Of course, Freddie Mugin, acquired by Utica City mid-January in a deal. There's a shot in off the boards, taken out of there by the Tropics. The other Utica City forward that could play a big role in the postseason is Mauricio Salas. Both excellent finishers and can be creative goal scorers. Salas with a really big shot, very potent on a lot of restart opportunities, set pieces. So Blast will, among others, have to contain 2 former Tropics in that first round playoff series to come out winners. I think most observers would tell you that's probably a 50-50 series, although, again, with Baltimore's postseason experience, hard to bet against them. Here's a chance shot, goal.
Goal for the Baltimore Blast.
Nice work by the Baltimore offense. Those extra touches, the key to creating an opportunity and space for T. Shipolani. And he made no mistake going far post. Nice possession, got a couple of Tropics defenders off their feet, kept the ball alive and created his own opportunity, and Silva had no chance. Familiar spot for the Tropics this year, trailing. Silva going to have to come out and send that one about halfway to Willow Oak. Again, almost a bad giveaway for Florida, so Baltimore will get a restart from the Tropics' yellow line, 50 feet out. Mello will do the honors. Lays it off to Hoxie. Let it roll through over to Oliveira. Daniel Oliveira double teamed. Kyle Ruiz came out of there with it briefly, but then rolls into the Baltimore end of the field. Long ball down for Hoxie. Trying a little redirect and was hoping maybe Oliveira was making a run. Here's Silva. Again, driving it to no one in particular. And Baltimore will immediately regain possession, but cleared back out where Berche gets it for Florida. Berche. He'll head to the bench on a line change. Lucas Teixeira hops over the boards, as does Melvin Boateng, who has it now. Melvin with it. Back out to Teixeira. Ahead to Antonio Manfoot. Manfoot at the yellow line, being watched by Jeremy Rayleigh. Gets it to Teixeira, down low to Melvin Boateng. Tries to turn and find some space, can't do it. We'll give it up to Cortez. Lucas Monolaris will track it down now. Tropics have not generated really any chances here in the first 3.5 minutes of the second quarter. Had several good chances in the first, only to be denied by Mike Zierhofer. Teixeira to Monolaris. As Villegas coming off the bench, Ricardo just a little bit behind him. Now tries to play it ahead, and he's tripped up. Whistle against Ibrahima Keita. So Florida will get a restart from about 45 feet out here.
Tropics fans.
Montalera sees a little opening. He might just take just a two-man wall here. Here's Montalera's shot, and that got through, but perfectly positioned was Mike Zierhofer, using the wall to cover part of the net, and Zierhofer had the other half covered himself. Here's Villegas. Villegas lays it off. Shot just misses wide by Victor Ferreras. Best scoring chance of the quarter for Florida, and a whistle and a foul as Hoxie is taken down. Ferreras with a bid far post, just missed by about a foot. Tropics leading scorer with 28 points this season. 15 goals to go along with his 13 assists. For the longest time, Guilherme, of course, was Florida's leading scorer. Played defense last year, just had one goal, and because of all the injuries, got moved to the front line to start the year and was a revelation up front, although in his native Brazil, when he plays futsal, he is a forward, but he had been placed on the defense here for the Tropics last season. And once he got a chance up front, he did not let go. 15 goals in his first 10 games before getting injured. And then finally back last week, got a goal, and then in that fourth quarter last week, re-injured the leg. Here's a giveaway again. Chance for Baltimore on top. Here's a shot and a goal. 5-hole for Keita. And another Florida giveaway results in Baltimore's third goal of the night. Yeah, this is a wash, rinse, repeat here for the Tropics. Just some fundamental mistakes that have kept cropping up all season. Teixeira couldn't get a foot on it, and a nice effort by, again, Keita, that one extra little touch across the top of the box to create space and put it between Silva's legs. So the Tropics hole continues to get deeper here. Arriaga with it. Gets it ahead to Ruiz. Boateng with it, and he can't control it. Thought maybe it had deflected off one of the Baltimore defenders, but the officials say no dice. Salifu with it. Intercepted by Marangoni. Check that, that's Maicon Franca on the far side, and Franca going to draw the foul. Tropics need to flip the script here. There's Silva with it. Silva, despite the defensive shortcomings this year, still among the top 10 in the league in save percentage. Of course, William Van Zela, not dressed tonight for Baltimore, among the league leaders in just about every goaltending category. Really the gold standard, if you will, of MASL goalies, although Josh Lemos might have something to say about that in the playoffs. There's Pardo, Chris Toth out west. We don't get a chance to see them play very often, but the chances that we have had to see them in goal over the last few seasons, obviously very impressive as well. Shot and a good save by Silva as he had to stretch out to collect that effort by DeSantos. Manfoot can't control. JP Reyes will here for the Tropics. Chasing three here, 5 minutes plus into the second quarter. Offensive chances have been far and few between over the last few games. Silva gets it ahead to Villegas. Villegas, little backheel to Antonio Manfoot. Tried to play it off the glass to Villegas, and Zierhofer will get it out of there. Arriaga tracks it down, being challenged by Jamie Thomas. And Fibo, Illinois native, will play it back to Silva, who gets it quickly out to Alexi Cortez. Cortez waits for fresh legs to come on here. Rafa Alves back at his more familiar defensive spot now to Villegas. Over to Marangoni. Marangoni shot. Zierhofer gets a paw on that one. Knocked back out to the center circle, and Berche will track it down for Florida. A little better sustained push here for the Tropics in terms of possession and trying to create some chances. Marangoni tried to play it off the boards to himself, and a good defensive recovery just at the last second. Otherwise, Marangoni would have been right in on Zierhofer. Here's Cipollani, one of the goal scorers. Santos with it. Tried to get it into the Florida third of the field. Was blocked by Marangoni, then goes out of play. So it'll be a kick in here for the Tropics. Breaking the action midway through the second quarter. It's been all Baltimore here in the second 15 minutes. It's the Blast 3. The Florida Tropics still looking to get onto the score sheet. We'll be back with the rest of the first half action in just a moment. More Major Arena Soccer League action to come. Don't go away. Are you in search of a new career? Let Staff Builders HR help you. We have a huge variety of positions from office staff to welders. We place great people with great companies. Log on to staffbuildershr.com. 3-0 Baltimore. Perhaps Staff Builders HR could find us a couple of goal scorers here tonight.
Or just come on down for all you can possibly eat.
So he said maybe looks to be perhaps the largest crowd we've had in franchise history tonight, in the 3,000 to 4,000 range, I would estimate. Great to see the fans turning out despite what has been a disappointing year. But the fan support has gone to a new level here in Lakeland in year 3, and the front office is already pledging to make year 4 the best ever, both on and off the field. Talk more about that in the second half a little bit. Here's Maicon Franca with it. Gets it back to Alvis. Alvis taking a defensive shift here of late. Ahead to Franca, and he loses it to Rayleigh. Franca trying to get it back against Rayleigh in the corner. 5 of them in there now. Finally cleared out to Teixeira, who will reset things offensively back to Hugo Silva. Alvis back to Hugo now. Tropics complete a line change. Of course, Baltimore looking ahead to the postseason. Their next game is not until April 20th back at the SCCU Arena. Visit the team's website for all the ticket and playoff information. That should be a really, really fun series against Utica. Utica City, one of the real success stories in the MASL this season, up at the Adirondack Bank Center, playing to full house after full house. And you know they'll have a big crowd on hand for that April 22nd matchup, game 2 of that series. And then, of course, if it's a split of the games, the 15-minute mini game to follow. We'll talk more about the playoff scenario in the MASL during the halftime report. Boateng ahead of the field. Leaves it for Manfoot. Manfoot tries to get it back to Boateng. Shot hits the post! Great opportunity for Boateng as Manfoot set him up on the redirect. And boy, it's been that kind of year for the Tropics. One of their prettier set plays, and Boateng hits the woodwork. Wasn't a hard shot, didn't need to be. Just needed the redirect, and Boateng just misses his first ever MASL goal. Reyes to Alves. Rafael gets it back to Silva now. Marangoni up front with Monaleras as Clay Roberts looks to move some players around and see if he can find an offensive combination that can click. Reyes back to Alves. Gets it ahead into the Baltimore end of the field, but quickly taken away by the blast. Cipollani and Alves collide, and it'll be Baltimore ball. Put in play by DeSantos. And the officials a little indecisive on the restart there, but they're going to let Baltimore do it again here. Monaleras not at all happy about that decision. Look for a brief moment like the Tropics might have a man up 3-on-2 counter, but here's Monaleras again ahead of the field, but does not have much help with him. So he'll play it back to Alves, who gets it to Victor Pereras. Pereras came close here earlier in the quarter to getting the Tropics on the score sheet. Here's Franca. Reyes with a lot of space to operate. Instead, just drives it into the Baltimore end of the field. Here's a steal by Pereras. Pereras in front. Villegas, and he can't quite come up with it. Here's Franca as Baltimore gets its numbers back to Villegas in front. Villegas, all kinds of white around him, and the blast will control and counter. It was Cipollani and now Jamie Thomas making the good defensive play. Well, you know the offense is struggling when Ricardo and Victor just missed. They are playing in their 8th season together, both outdoor and indoor, going back to their college days in Texas. Hoxie tries to turn. Good job by Pereira staying stride for stride with him. And here comes Villegas back 2-on-2 with Victor. Over to Pereras. Pereras bangs it off the boards. Tried to get Villegas on the run in the box, but Zierhofer had that one sniffed out nicely. There's Hoxie with it. Hoxie has it taken away by Boateng. Boateng on the counter with some speed. He scored one of the 2 Tropics SC goals in the UPSL opener. Good defensive play by DeSantos. Here's Manfoot with it. Manfoot tried to get it in front. Now here's Ruiz. Shot. Goal! Carlos Ruiz gets the Tropics on the board, and let's see if that lights the fire. Good work by Antonio Manfoot in the corner to set that one up. And Ruiz had just enough space, and it looked like it just deflected off one of the Baltimore defenders. Might have been ticketed for the upper corner anyway, but Ruiz gets his 6th of the season. As we said, one of those young players who has gotten a big opportunity here in 2018-19 to play a lot of games because of the injuries, and he has continued to learn the game and improve and become a important part perhaps of the Tropics going forward in season 4. Manfoot, of course, does pick up the assist on that. Here's a long ball down to Monaleras, knocked out of there by Zierhofer. Cortez can't control, and here's a 3-on-2 for Baltimore. This is Salifu in front to Ndi, and And DI did not get a lot on it, and Silva made a relatively easy save. Here's Cortez, a lot of space to move. Cortez lays it ahead to Monaleris. Monaleris doesn't have any help, so he gets it back out to the midfield circle. Here's a long shot, knocked out of there. Manfoot with a rebound. Great defensive effort. Here's Manfoot again. Manfoot is Jeremy really came in out of nowhere to break up that opportunity. Great hustle by Rayleigh. Florida will get a corner kick here, though. So a chance for a restart opportunity deep in the Baltimore end. It's been a better last 3 or 4 minutes here for Florida, their best stretch of the game. See if Manfoot may want to look to Monaleris or Alvis on the opposite side of the box. He does. Tried to get it over to Alvis, and it was just touched away by one of the Baltimore defenders. So that good chance goes by the boards quickly. Here's Pereiras. Pereira got in the way of that one, but Silva will pick it right back up at his own yellow line. Ahead to J.P. Reyes. Reyes, good decision there to lay it back to Pereiras. Over to Alvis now. Pereiras ahead to Villegas. Ricardo leaves it for Victor. Victor being watched by Pereira. Pereiras against Pereira. Shot, and that is cleared away. Another rebound opportunity goes high and out of play. Tropics with their best pressure of the game, however. They would love to get at least one here. One more before the intermission, but at least something to build on perhaps for the final 30 minutes. Long ball ahead to Juan Galvis. Gives it back to his defensive mate, Mike Diesel. Boateng with the takeaway, a whistle and a foul against Melvin. Who wonders why? Minute 5 to play here. One thing you don't want to do is give up a late one. Boateng again on the intercept. This time he will try and play it back defensively. Almost taken away. Finally, JP comes out of there with it. Reyes intercepted again, this time by Diesel. Gets it over to Galvis. Galvis has traffic around him and loses it, and that will go out of play. It'll be a kick in for the Tropics. Chance here to perhaps mount a last offensive threat. They will make wholesale changes as Monaleris comes out along with Manfoot. Victor Pereiras down to Monaleris, but easily knocked out of there. Silva will control it now. Gets it to Pereiras, right back to Hugo. Pressure by Galvis. Now Pereiras with some room to operate. He waves players away. He's got some space down the left wing. Cuts it inside. Shot. Saved by Zierhofer again. Just got enough of that one. Galvis. Man-foot battle. Baltimore will come out of there with it, but not enough time to make a counter. Pereiras with a long shot as time expires, but a better last 5 or 6 minutes for the Tropics. Falling down 3-0 here early in the second quarter, but they fight back to at least get one on the board as Kaya Ruiz gets his 6th of the season. So the Tropics and Blast will go to the half. 3-1 Baltimore. It's only the half of it here, though, in Lakeland. The more to come sign is up. We'll be back to look at some of the highlights. We'll be talking about the MASL postseason, which is right around the corner, and more in just a moment. This is the Major Arena Soccer League. Don't go away. Back in just a couple of minutes. Halftime here in Lakeland, Florida. For those of you wondering where Lakeland may be located, it's the Swan City, and we're kind of nestled right between Tampa, the Tampa-St. Pete area, about 45 minutes to our west, and Orlando and Disney World about 45 minutes to our east. Lakeland, a city of about 100,000. Polk County, the third largest county in Florida with about 600,000 people, and several thousand here tonight at the RP Funding Center on the home season finale for the Tropics. 3-1 Baltimore as the Blast got out with only the first goal of the first quarter, then moved up 3-0, and then finally the Tropics get on the board. Hugo Silva with a save there. He is the Tropics MVP this season. Great save by Zierhofer off the foot of Manfoot. And then the bad break in the Tropics end of the field resulting in the first Baltimore goal, and then the second off the post. A great chance by Victor Pereras, unable to slot it home. Finally, Ibrahim Keita made it 3-0 for Baltimore, and the Tropics were kind of reeling at that point. Melvin Boateng, a bid for his first ever goal off the woodwork, and it's been that kind of season. But finally, Kyle Ruiz creating an opportunity just inside the top of the arc, goes top shelf, and that is the Tropics' only goal of the quarter, but it was a big one, perhaps getting some momentum back as Zierhofer makes the save on Victor Pereras. Mike Zierhofer, the backup goalie in Baltimore. That's kind of a lonely job when William Van Zela is the guy you're backing up, but Zierhofer has been great here tonight, and definitely one of the reasons the Blast hold a 2-goal lead. We'll be back and talk about the MASL playoffs. They start in less than 2 weeks. The Baltimore Blast will be there. We'll tell you when and where, and all you need to know about the MASL postseason in just a moment. We will return with more halftime here from the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, Florida. It's Baltimore 3, the Tropics 1. Back in a moment. Well, some would argue it's the best time of the season, the postseason, and it's just around the corner in the MASL. Florida fans might not feel that way. For the third straight year, the Tropics will be on the outside looking in, but for who knows how many years it's been. I don't know if Baltimore's ever missed the playoffs. I'm sure maybe they have once or twice in their history, but it doesn't seem like it, as the MASL playoffs kick off in the East with the Kansas City Comets and the Milwaukee Wave. Kansas City will host Game 1 of that series at the Silverstein Ice Centers Arena on April 18th, and then they will shift things back to Milwaukee UW Panther Arena in Milwaukee on Saturday night. That should be a lot of fun, as the Wave and Comets will rock the UW Arena. That is Game 2. Now, the MASL playoffs, the way they are structured is it's a best of 3 practically, but the third game is just a 15-minute mini game. So if Kansas City, for example, were to win on their home field on Thursday, Milwaukee were to win the regulation game on Saturday, the two teams would then play a 15-minute mini game at the conclusion of that second game on Saturday the 20th to decide the playoff winner. And then, of course, the same scenario for the Baltimore Blast, as they will take on Utica City. The Blast, a little bit different. They will be at home for their first game Saturday night, April 20th at the SECU Arena. Special hello to our fans up in the Mid-Atlantic region watching on NBC Sports Washington tonight. Glad to have you along, and would love to see you out at the SECU Arena at Towson State on the 20th for the opener of the Blast playoff series against Utica City. And then Utica will host the second game on Monday night, April 22nd, and of course the mini game to follow if that is necessary. Now, out west, there still is one playoff race to be decided, and one that is already set. Monterey and Rio Grande Valley, the RGV Barracudas, have secured playoff spots out west, and that playoff series will start Friday night, April 19th at Rio Grande Valley, and then Monterey will host Game 2 and the mini game. And of course, the team that many feel that may still be the team to beat before all is said and done, the San Diego Sockers, still waiting to learn their playoff opponent, is both Ontario and Tacoma, basically tied for second place, and that will come right down to the final week of the regular season to determine that matchup. So lots of exciting playoff action ahead in the MASL. We hope there's lots of exciting action ahead over the final 30 minutes here in Lakeland, Florida. It's Baltimore 3, the Florida Tropics 1. Back with more MASL action, including the second half, in just a moment. Just about set to go here for the final 30 minutes. Tropics with that late goal by Kyle Ruiz. See if they can build on that here, as Andrew Hoxie will do the honors to get things started here for the third quarter. The Tropics send out Manfoot, Villegas, Pereiras, Arriaga, and Teixeira. Clay Roberts, as we said, looking for some kind of combination up front that will get some offensive juices flowing. Here's Villegas with it. Villegas tries to control it, but good recovery by Tony Donatelli. Villegas not able to create a chance there. Here's Pereiras ahead to Ricardo. Scored the first goal ever in Tropics SC history in the UPSL 5 minutes into the win against the Institute FC up at Disney's Wide World of Sports Complex. Home opener for the Tropics SC outdoor team will come next Friday, April 12th, if you're in the Central Florida area, over at the Lake Myrtle Sports Park, where the Tropics are hoping that they will get the opportunity to host the U.S. Open Cup game. Their USL League Two franchise, the Lakeland Tropics, in the Open Cup for the second straight year. Last year, they were shipped all the way to Midland, Texas for their opening round game and lost 3-0. So they're hoping for a different outcome both on and off the field here this season. Here's Ruiz with the goal scorer with it, over to Berche. And check out all the Tropics news at fltropics.com, and that will include, of course, all the U.S. Open Cup news as well. Counter for the Blast now. Here's DeSantos. Being watched in there by Berche. Gets it out now on top to Rayleigh. Jeremy Rayleigh, who had a really, really good defensive play in the second quarter to deny Florida what would have been an almost sure goal situation. Kind of one of those unsung heroes on the Blast roster. Doesn't always get a chance to be a star with as many good players as Baltimore always trots out there, but hard worker, and it paid off on that defensive effort earlier here tonight. Monolaris and Rayleigh battle now, and again Baltimore comes out of there with it. This is Ndiaye. Has it knocked away, but the Blast will control. Thomas with it at the midfield line. Leaves it off for Keita. Oliveira gets it on the right side now. Over to Thomas. Thomas collides with, I think that was Marangoni who got a piece, and not sure if that was Thomas or Cipollani, who I think it was Thomas. Took the brunt of that over there. Yeah, that's Thomas. And Marangoni made a play for the ball, got the right arm up a little high there. No blue card. No power plays either way tonight, as a matter of fact. It's one of the things the Tropics have done pretty well this year, both kill penalties and score on the power play, but no chances either way so far. There's a long shot knocked out of there by Silva, and Albus might have got a piece of it on the line as well. Albus really cracked it from about 50 feet. Intercepted by Galvis. Gets it to Diesel. First goal here in the third quarter. I know it's indoor soccer and things can change in a hurry, but first goal here in the third quarter, if there is one even, would be very large. He played a defensive game and won it in Harrisburg last week 4-3. Might be a similar scoreline here tonight. Cato with it. Last one to change here. There's Just about everybody changes except the man with the ball, Adriano Dos Santos, being watched by Ricardo Villegas. Villegas sticks a foot in there, but Dos Santos will control 1 against 3. Now Ricardo will finally get possession ahead to Manfoot. Manfoot, 2 against 3 here. Manfoot goes wide, tries to get it in front to Villegas, but easily broken up by the Baltimore defense here. And here's Hoxie with a chance. Hoxie against Silva. Teixeira trying to play defense here, and a good recovery by Teixeira and then Pereiras. And Pereiras touchdown by Hoxie, who tried to cut it around Silva to get an open shot, but good hustle by Lucas Teixeira, who has been bothered most of the year and missed a couple of months with a hip injury. Finally was back in the lineup last week. JP Reyes with it leads the Tropics in blocks this year. Been a steadying influence on the defense all 3 years here with Florida. Veteran of many years in the indoor game. Pereiras with it. Gets it ahead to Melvin Boateng in the corner. Boateng has it taken away by Dos Santos. And there's the veteran against the rookie, and Adriano Dos Santos wins that. Nice move at the midfield by Pereira. Pereira touches it in front. Tried to set up Keita, but rather Ndiaye. But Ndiaye could not quite control it, and Hugo Silva will restart it here for Florida. No scoring here in the third quarter. Went to the intermission at 3-1. Alves gets it back to his goalkeeper, Hugo Silva, named the team's MVP before tonight's game. Down deep to Lucas Manoleras now. Manoleras taking a forward shift. He's taken a few of those here tonight. He had a 3-goal game back in the Tropics inaugural season. So we know he can find the back of the net when given the opportunity. Rafa Alves started as a target forward in this game, but has played most of his shifts here lately back on the defense. Teixeira has it now. Trying to feed it ahead for Manoleras. Alves will intercept. Gives it back to Teixeira and over to Reyes. Reyes taken down. And that will be a penalty and a blue card against Juan Pereira. So we were just talking about the fact that there had been no power play opportunities tonight, but Pereira going to be whistled and sent off for 2 minutes. So the Tropics with an opportunity here to climb a little closer. Pereiras out there with Villegas, Reyes, Manoleras, and Antonio Manfoot. Here's Villegas, gets it over to Manoleras. Long blast by Pereiras, and that's halfway to Gibsonia.
Kitchen has been serving freshly made amazing food since 1979. Visit them on South Avenue here in Lakeland for the freshest ribs, chicken, burgers, and much more.
So Mike Zierhofer will get a chance to put it back in play here for Baltimore. As we said, his second consecutive start for the Blast. Loser last week 4-3 in Harrisburg. Tropics a 48% team on the penalty or on the power play. Baltimore penalty kill rate of about 56%. Here's Reyes. Still a minute 20 to go in the power play. Manfoot gets it back to Pereiras. Pereiras on the right side. Manoleras going to play it off the boards. Tried to get it in front of Villegas. Cleared out of there, but Pereiras will head it back to Hugo Silva. Pereiras may set up Manoleras again. We'll see here. Reyes, good defensive play there by Rayleigh as he stuck a leg in there as Ruiz tried to get it across the box to Monaleros. They are leaving Lucas wide open on the right side of the field here. If the Tropics can create a passing lane, he's got a good shot. Villegas taken off the play. Whistle and a foul against Florida. Ricardo's like, hey, where was the whistle when I was taken down? .41 seconds left in the man advantage for the Tropics. Bad bounce for Baltimore, so Florida will get possession back here with 39 seconds left in the man advantage. One more push forward here for the Tropics. Same five out there. Carreras, Ruiz, Villegas, Manfoot, and Monaleros. Here's Ruiz. Back on top to Carreras. As soon as they get it into Villegas, though, that Baltimore defense collapsing on Ricardo and not allowing him to distribute. There's Carreras. Carreras again tried to get it into Villegas, knocked away by Donatelli. Good job on the penalty kill here by Baltimore. Tropics just not quick enough in their one touches to create opportunities. There's a header by Manfoot on the rebound, and that just trickles wide. Manfoot still with it. Penalty is over. Baltimore back at full strength. Carreras. Not really a lot of great opportunities there on the power play. Chance missed for the Tropics. Kind of the story of the season. Here's Fibo Arriaga with it. Gets it into the Baltimore end of the field. Manfoot challenging in there with Guernsey, and whistle and the foul going to go against Baltimore. Manfoot with a chance here. It's got Villegas and Ruiz back post. Manfoot with a long shot, deflected out of there by Juan Galvis. Manfoot tries to get his own rebound. Galvis with a good recovery. Baltimore with a counter, and Silva will come well out of his line to play it, and it'll go over the boards, and Baltimore will get a kick in from right at the center line. Still waiting for our first goal here in the third quarter, and we'll have to wait a little bit longer as we have an official's timeout. On the floor, 7:13 to play, third quarter here in Lakeland, Florida. It is the Blast still leading the Florida Tropics 3-1. Back with more Major Arena Soccer League action in just a moment. Ovation Bistro and Bar is the best smokehouse in Central Florida with amazing food and an $8.99 daily lunch special at all three locations in Winter Haven, Davenport, and now right here in Lakeland. Ovation Bistro and Bar's food speaks for itself. Ovation Bistro and Bar, where doing the extraordinary is ordinary. See if the Tropics can come up with an extraordinary final quarter and a half to the home season here. Haven't gotten an attendance figure yet, but just anecdotally looking here at the crowd, I think it's the largest crowd we've ever had at a Tropics game in Lakeland. This is the end of the third year now. Not only people in the stands, but one of the things you've noticed this year is the fans that when they come that are much more emotionally invested in the team than we've seen the first couple of years. It's been a great atmosphere and a lot of fun here at the RP Funding Center, and Tropics would like to reward their faith. Diesel with it. Salifu gets it back out to the midfield circle with some help from Thomas. Now Alvis heads it out of there. Ruiz trying to track it down. The only goal scorer for the Tropics so far, Kaya Ruiz. And Di battling with Monolaris in there, or rather Alvis. And Silva just bangs it out of harm's way for the moment. Teixeira and Mello collide, and we have a whistle, and let's see where the follow is going to come. It's going to come against Mello. And Teixeira with a good display of sportsmanship. Mello can't believe the call is against him. There's another look as Teixeira initially with the takedown, and then Mello with the hold. And it is WrestleMania weekend after all, so Lucas and Mello might not be the main event, but a couple of moments of excitement at least here on the RP Funding Center floor tonight. Here is Monolaris with it. Gets it back to Lucas Teixeira. Across the floor to Arriaga. Arriaga into the Baltimore zone, but Marangoni was not in position to pick up that loose ball. Here's Cipollani in front, and just missing on the redirect is Endia. Those two will head to the bench for the blast, and the Tropics will send out fresh troops as well. Donatelli with it into the Florida end of the field. Tony at age 34, still a force in this league. He's third among the blast in points this season with 29, 15 goals, 14 assists coming in tonight. And you can bet he will be an important presence on the floor April 20th when Baltimore hosts Utica City in the first round of the Eastern Division playoffs. Donatelli with it, being watched by Alexi Cortez. Into the Florida third now. Arriaga battles with Galvis, and Manfoot comes out of there with it to Diegas. Diegas. Long ball down to Alexi Cortez. Knocked out of there by the Baltimore defense. Down to 4 minutes to go here in a scoreless third. Teixeira, Alvin Boateng trying to track it down at the midfield circle for Florida. Looks like he'll win that battle ahead to Manfoot. Manfoot being challenged by DeSantos. He takes it away, 3-on-2 here for Baltimore. DeSantos has Hoxie on the right side. Hoxie with a shot knocked out of there by Silva. Hoxie again with it in the corner, bangs it in front, and Hugo takes it away from DeSantos, who was lurking nearby. Here's Pereiras. Pereiras gonna try and create some opportunity here. Gets it ahead to Monolaris. Lucas with it. Lays it off for Alvis with a shot. That goes halfway to Waverly.
Glory Days Grill at Lakeside Village in Lakeland has an award-winning chef with a delicious menu to choose from. Come on in to watch your favorite.
A couple of other games around the MASL tonight. The Harrisburg Heat at home against Mississauga. And the Heat leading that one 5-2. Nice season down in Harrisburg. They will miss out on the playoffs, but the Healy boys, who Baltimore fans know all about, doing a very nice job in reviving the Heat. Had some nice crowds down there and have been very competitive. won more games this year than they did last, and they will be a force in the Eastern Division next year. You can just about bank on it. Dallas Sidekicks and Tacoma Stars underway at the Allen Event Center in Allen, Texas tonight, and that's a big one for Tacoma. As we said, the Stars and Ontario Fury battling for the right to meet San Diego in the opening round of the Pacific Division playoffs. Of course, Landon Donovan and the Sockers, perhaps the favorites to win it all this year. They are 20-1 and will likely have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. It would take a strange confluence of events over the final couple of weeks to not make that happen. Of course, Landon Donovan signing with the Sockers earlier this season has been a tremendous boost to the league in terms of its attendance and publicity, and he has lived up to his end of the deal as well on the field. So it'll be fun to watch Landon and the Sockers in the Ron Newman Cup playoffs. And Ron Newman, of course, the Sockers' longtime, highly successful coach with San Diego in the old days of the NASL indoor and Major Indoor Soccer League indoor seasons. I think San Diego won something like 10 out of 11 championships when Ron was their coach. Just passed away here not too long ago. Had the distinct privilege of having him here. I think it was the last home game of last season that he was here in the building, and got a chance to interview him at halftime. Kind of a personal thrill. Such an innovative coach, and first and foremost, just a great guy, but did a wonderful, wonderful job with the Sockers. And so that's why they are called the Ron Newman Cup playoffs. Here's a ball over to Alexi Cortez, and it's going to stay in play, but took a bad bounce. And DeSantos will get it back to Zierhofer. Here's Donatelli with it. 2-on-1 here for Baltimore now. Cipollani has it taken away. Nice defensive play by Arriaga. Marangoni with some space. Marangoni gets it ahead to Villegas. Villegas looks for some help, can't find it, and kind of frustratedly gets it back to Teixeira. Baltimore just not giving the Tropics any room to operate in the offensive third. Here's Villegas, shot! Hits the post! My goodness. By far the best opportunity the Tropics have had here in the third quarter, and Ricardo Villegas, second post of the night for the Tropics. And it almost ricocheted off Zierhofer into the net. Finally, it just space, and my goodness. Here's Monaleris with a shot. That's blistered wide. Villegas collects the rebound. Villegas, a little give and go with Pereiras. Didn't quite work, and Alvis will take the long shot. That's blocked by DeSantos. And the Tropics with some late pressure here in the third quarter. They will have to start opening it up and take some chances as we move into the fourth, which is always dangerous. Entertaining, but dangerous. Here's Pereiras on the restart. Victor, shot, and Zierhofer goes down to make the save. That's not easy for a guy who's 6'5" to get down that quickly, but as we said, Zierhofer doesn't get an opportunity often, but he's impressed when he's had the chance. Here's Monaleris. Tries to get it to Manfoot. Over to Pereiras. Pereiras with an opportunity, and Zierhoff came out just to cover up in the final second. But the Tropics again with some late pressure to end the third quarter. We'll see if they can carry that on into the fourth. The final 15 minutes to come here in Lakeland tonight. It's the Baltimore Blast 3, the Florida Tropics 1. Back with the conclusion in Well, indeed, the largest crowd in franchise history here tonight, and the Tropics will need them to see if they can erase this 2-goal deficit in the fourth quarter. 4,031 on hand here at the RP Funding Center for the home season finale. And the Blast smothering the Tropics offense through 3 quarters, just a 3-1 score. We'll see if the Florida 5 can find a way to penetrate not only the Baltimore defense, but 6'5" goaltender Mike Zierhoff. Of course, William Van Zalen will be back in time for the playoffs, just nursing some nicks and bruises. And I know he says he doesn't watch television, but hope he's tuned in tonight. And wish he and the Blast the best of luck moving into the postseason here. And Zale leads the entire MASL in save percentage at .753. Third best goals against average in the league at .409. Always comes up big at playoff time as well, so expect some of the other walking wounded for Baltimore to be back in action as well this game tonight, and then the week off next week when the rest of the league finishes the regular season probably will benefit the Blast, even though their full side will not have actually played in a real game for almost close to a month. But they are experienced and veteran and talented, and they should be as close to full health as possible this late in the season by the time they hit the playoff pitch. Monolaris took one in the push, no whistle, and it's a 2-on-1 here. Now a 3-on-1 for the Blast. Here's a chance shot, and that goes wide by Thomas. I think he was actually looking to make a pass there. Rayleigh. Monolaris is still down, and finally they will blow the whistle, and Monolaris holding his mouth a little. We'll head to the Tropics bench here. Both teams will make changes. Chance to offer just a couple of personal thoughts here on this 2018-19 season. I know in terms of the look publicly and the record, it has not been anything near what the Tropics expected. Heading into the new year back in December with very high hopes to challenge for a playoff spot. Did not happen. The injuries just too much to overcome, which led to a lot of frustration on and off the field, and just was not the outcome that the Tropics were expecting on the field. But we'll share a story with you from a staff meeting a few weeks ago. Dr. Panos Iakovidis, who is the team chief executive officer. He's also the president, board chairman of Bond Clinic, which is the primary sponsor of the Tropics. His vision and passion is what this has been all about over the last 3 years, both indoors and outdoors. But he made a really good point, and that is, off the field, the Tropics have had a winning season, evidenced by the fact that we have over 4,000 people in the house tonight, franchise record. The fan support is growing, never better. And as we mentioned earlier, not only just here, they are more emotionally invested in the outcome than they have been the first 2 seasons. Shot blocked by Boateng and out of play. But what Dr. Iakovidis meant was not only the fan support, but the business community support has never been better. Sponsors sharing the vision and the dream of the Tropics, not only on the field, but off the field, to be a community asset, to improve the quality of life here in Lakeland and Polk County, to provide entertainment and opportunities for families to enjoy the sport as Manfoot tries to create an opportunity, gets it back. Still fighting, gets to the top of the box, shot in that's finally blocked. And as he pointed out, you can't win on the field if you don't win off the field first. And this Tropics organization, starting with Dr. Iacovitis, Chris Economides, the Chief Executive Officer, Andrew Ross, the General Manager, Hunter, Ian, Fernando, Melvin, Diego, the rest of the front office staff have really done a nice job off the field to build the foundation, knocked in front and then cleared out of there by Baltimore. And so while the product on the field has not been what any of us had anticipated, from Coach Clay Roberts to the ownership to certainly the players themselves, off the field, it has been a good year. And in a lot of ways, as disappointing as this year has been, already a lot of anticipation and excitement for year 4 of professional indoor soccer here in Lakeland. Silva comes out. Long shot. Zierhofer has to make the save. As Dr. Iacovitis said in the staff meeting, we know we can fix the on-field problems, and we will. And you know they have already actually started to go to work on that, looking at the roster construction for next year. Who will stay, who will go. And there will be changes. Quick restart for the Tropics. Can get a 2-on-1 here if they hurry. Here's Marangoni. Marangoni with a chance. Shot! Good save. Zierhofer again as Enzo let it go from about 30 feet. So they'll get the on-field problems fixed, but off the field it has been a good year for the Tropics. Not perfect, not where they want to be, but the foundation is certainly in place for things going forward as an organization, both indoors and outdoors, with the goal outdoors professionally to bring a USL League One here team in due time. So a big thank you to all the fans and business owners and supporters here of Tropics Soccer. We promise better days ahead. And know that you've got a group off the field committed to making sure that happens. Ruiz battles to keep it alive and take it away from Ndiaye. Now taken back by Baltimore. Here's Thomas with it. Collision in there with Ndiaye. Counter here for Florida. Alvis with it. Alvis with a little bit of room. Mello closes it down rather quickly. Out to Pereiras. Pereiras long shot blocked by Ndiaye. Here's Monolaris. Thought about trying to get it to Victor, but again, not enough room in the offensive end for Florida to operate. Franca with a shot, and that goes out of play.
The clinic is proud to be the title sponsor and official medical rider of the Florida Tropics Soccer Club.
Well, the Tropics have 9.5 minutes to try and figure it out here. A little too early to talk about sixth attacker. Here is Galvis, tracks it down, shot, that just missed, might have actually hit the crossbar. Took kind of a funny bounce, and Galvis got a good shot away. Hugo Silva playing well, earning his MVP status tonight. And we've got a little carpet mishap on the far side as the carpet monster tripped up Thibaut Arriaga for just a minute. A little repair over near the Baltimore bench, and now we're set to go. If this one stays in play, Teixeira takes a knock from one of the Baltimore players, and that's going to be a blue card against the blast. So the Tropics will go on a power play for the second time tonight. They were not able to really muster much earlier in this half on the first power play chance. We'll need a little quicker effort here as Salifu is called for the penalty. Tropics will can see the collision there as Salifu knocked Teixeira to the turf and really make an effort to go for the ball, so blue card came out. Here's Reyes with it, out there with Villegas. Pereira gets by, one-man shot, and that one just off the top of the crossbar. I think Zierhofer did get a piece of it. He has been strong tonight. Here's Pereira again from distance. That one is blocked. Stays in play. Pereira to Villegas. Villegas thought about turning and shooting. Couldn't get it teed up, however. Reyes in there. Reyes with possession in front. Goal! That's a pretty one by the Tropics as Caio Reyes kept it alive, and Ricardo Villegas gets the header. And Florida is back within a goal. Nice work by Caio Reyes to keep the play alive deep to the right of Zierhofer, and he saw Villegas making the run into the box and lofted a perfect pass Ricardo's way, and Villegas gets his 23rd of the season. Tops on the Tropics. Third straight year he will be the leading goal scorer. Despite missing the entire month of December. So that'll set us up for perhaps a pretty frenzied finish here. Still a lot of time to go. Villegas gets it ahead to Boateng. Boateng has Manfoot with him, but not much other help, and a good decision as Baltimore already had all 5 men back behind the ball. Pereira with it. Pereira. New life here for the Tropics to Arriaga. Down low to Boateng. Pinballs around in the box for a minute. Knocked out of there by Cipollani. But Florida will retain possession here. Hugo Silva with it. He can come out now across the center line, remember. Goaltender's not allowed to do that for the first 3 quarters, but allowed to do that in the 4th. Boateng plays it back to J.P. Reyes. Over to Reyes. One thing that goal will do will keep the 6th attacker off the floor for a couple extra minutes at least. That's always a good thing. Collision and a foul against, I think it was either Diesel or Hoxie, and no, actually they're going to call it against J.P. Reyes. So Baltimore will get the restart. Arriaga trying to cut off Hoxie and does. Gets it to Reyes. Reyes trying to battle through Oliveira. Reyes will pick it up in the corner. Look out! Gives it to Silva. Has to come up big as JP almost made a uncharacteristic giveaway there. Jamie Thomas almost got that one right back for Baltimore. Timeout on the floor, last official timeout of regulation. Who knows, maybe we have overtime in the offing here tonight. We'll see how the final 7.5 minutes play out. It's Baltimore 3, Florida 2. Back with the conclusion. More Major Arena Soccer League action to come. Don't go away. Look at the Florida bench. Guillerme in street clothes. Be great to have him out here in the final 7.5 minutes and his 16 goals, but injured that quad last week in his first game back in more than 2 months. Good news for Tropics fans is shouldn't be sidelined real long, and will likely be back for a good portion at least of the UPSL outdoor season. Dangerous restart here for Baltimore at the top of the arc. Tropics need to keep a good wall in front of Hugo Silva here. It'll be Mello, the trigger man, gets it off to Donatelli, and a good save by Hugo Silva there. So Hugo keeps it a 1-goal game. Monolaris going to try and take it off the board, can't do it. Counter for Oliveira, and Arriaga sticks a leg in there. Alves takes it away to Ricardo Villegas. Good move by Villegas to get into some open space. Now we'll play it back to Silva as Florida wants some new blood on the floor. Manfoot comes over the boards. Villegas will take it in the corner. Being watched by DeSantos. Here's Manfoot shot. Oh, and that hits the post. Third post tonight by the Tropics as Manfoot almost ties it. Been that kind of year here in Lakeland. But still plenty of time to get the equalizer. Manfoot just missed. Silva will come across the center line and leave it for Victor Pereiras. He would be the 6th attacker if we get to a point in the dying minutes of the quarter. And Coach Clay Roberts makes the decision to go that way, which he certainly would at some point. Here's Pereiras. Pereiras trying to fight through and DI, but Mohammed comes out of there with it, and now Adriano DeSantos leads the counter for Baltimore. Trying to get it over to Ndiaye, who's taken down, and no blue card, I don't think, but a foul. Tropics could ill afford a penalty here. I think DeSantos was wondering why maybe the blue card didn't come out. Baltimore has had 2 against them tonight. There's the challenge by Teixeira, and it'll give Baltimore a restart here. Kind of a dangerous spot, about 35 feet out, just to the right of Hugo Silva. 2-man wall for the Tropics. Chip down and low, a header in front. Knocked out of there by Silva as DeSantos had a good chance. Here's a chance and a shot and a goal. Boy, the Tropics just did not have enough men back.
Goal for the Baltimore Blast.
And that's a big one for Baltimore. I think it was Ndiaye, but we'll double check. Just too many Tropics caught up the field, and Mohamed Ndiaye gets Baltimore's 4th of the night. So with 5:47 to go, the Blast regain their 2-goal lead. And that will hasten the arrival of Victor Pereiras as the 6th attacker, I'm sure. He's on the bench at the moment. 6th attacker, a jersey on, but within probably a couple of minutes, I'm sure he will. Hugo Silva will act almost as a 6th attacker now here, and we have a whistle, and not sure what the problem is. May have been some kind of an inadvertent whistle, really not sure. But Hugo going to put it back in play. I don't know if the officials forgot it was the 4th quarter or what, but we'll restart it right where they blew it dead. JP Reyes with it. On to Maicon Franca, back out to Reyes. Over to Alves, Rafa Alves. Baltimore with 3 defenders up high here, not allowing much penetration as Ruiz looks for some space. Ruiz with a move at the yellow line. Gives it off to Arriaga. Thibault. Over to Reyes. Lots of passing, but no penetration. Here's a ball to Maicon Franca in the corner, and he needed to be about 5'9". He's only 5'4", unfortunately. So he missed the header. Ruiz stepping up. Franca trying to recover defensively and does. Pereiras ready to hop over the boards but does not have the 6th attacker jersey on. 4:50 to go. Pereiras. Villegas joins him. Teixeira out now as well. Here's Ricardo. Ricardo leaves it off for Arriaga to Teixeira. Teixeira down low to Franca. Arriaga in there. Franca battles along with Diesel, and Baltimore clears it out to the midfield line. Pereiras will keep it for Teixeira, gets it ahead to Villegas. Villegas got Franca. Franca's shot just misses far post. Ricardo battling again. Donatelli clears the zone. Silva comes out. Pereiras at the yellow line. Over to Alvis. Down to Antonio Manfoot. Just missed. There's a long shot that goes well out of play. Pereiras and Silva communicating on the floor, I'm sure, about 6th attacker situation. There's Franca just missing far post. Pereiras still on the floor.
Don't wait and get your Tropics swag today.
Hoxie battles with Alvis, couple of redwoods there, and Florida gets it into the Baltimore end of the field. At least in the soccer world, redwoods. And here's a 2-on-1 and a trip, and that will be a blue card against the Tropics. And that may just about put the final nail in the coffin, as Ricardo Villegas is going to be sent off for tripping. Or is it Alvis, I guess? I beg your pardon. It's Rafa Alvis who commits the infraction. So Baltimore will get its first power play chance of the night. I want to send along special thanks to Suncoast Credit Union. They are the sponsor of the Tropics Goal program. Lots of kids here in attendance tonight, thanks to Suncoast. The Goal program throughout schools here in the greater Lakeland area rewards youngsters for reaching goals in reading and other academic endeavors. And that is thanks to Suncoast Credit Union, and we wanted to pass along our appreciation to them and for all the kids who have had a chance to come out and enjoy the excitement of professional indoor soccer. Suncoast has made that possible along with the Tropics. So Baltimore on the power play here, their first of the night. The Tropics would only have about a minute and a half left once the power play is over. If Baltimore does not score, to try and find an answer. Otherwise, this record crowd of over 4,000 will go home a disappointed lot. Intercept by Monolaris. Tropics do have 2 shorthanded goals this year, but Monolaris has his pocket picked from behind. Pereiras does have the 6th attacker jersey on the bench, but obviously not going to bring him on during a Baltimore power play situation. Hoxie going to have to track it down, but JP Reyes gets there first. Baltimore's got a couple of people deep, but Teixeira gets it ahead to Ruiz now. Caio Ruiz, 1 against 2, now 1 against 1. Can't get by Mello. JP Reyes will track it down for the Tropics. 43 seconds to go in the Baltimore man advantage. 4-2 blast. Final 2:20 here to play out at the RP Funding Center in the 2018-19 season for the Tropics. This is the season ender for Baltimore. If they win it, they'll finish at 17-7, can finish in no worse than a tie for first in the East. Utica will finish their regular season on the road next Friday in Orlando. But whether they finish first or second will not matter, because the playoff dates and places have been set. Baltimore will host the Utica City Football Club on Saturday night, April 20th at the SECU Arena in Towson. Hope to see lots of Baltimore fans out there. I'm sure we will. Here's Melvin Boateng, long shot. That just misses. Penalty is over, and Victor Pereiras will hop over the boards as the 6th attacker here. Monolaris gets it to Teixeira. Teixeira Over to Pereiras. Pereiras gets it down low to Boateng. Melvin Boateng bangs it off the boards. Can't get it in front. Trying to track it down. Gets a header through the box, but cleared out of there by Dos Santos. Teixeira in a battle with Jamie Thomas. Tropics will win it. Just over a minute to go. They need a quick one. Teixeira gets it over to Victor Pereiras. Pereiras, long shot, and that will go high and out of play. So a chance for Baltimore here to run a little clock. The Tropics will fall to 6-17 and will not make it back to the 500 mark here at home. They were 5-6 at the RP Funding Center coming into the game tonight. And for Baltimore, they will actually finish with a 7-5 road record. Here's Manfoot trying to get it ahead. Ruiz gets in there, but Dos Santos runs interference and knocks Ruiz off the ball. Gets it back out to midfield where Victor Pereiras has it. Over to Enzo Marangoni. Marangoni back to Victor. Over to Manfoot. Manfoot at the yellow line. Tees it up for Victor. Long shot and a nice save by Zierhofer as he comes out. And he will make a bid to get into the Baltimore record books with a goal, but that one will go just wide. Time running out on the 2018-19 season here at home for the Tropics. Marangoni with one last push. Long shot. Zierhofer gets a piece of that one. Marangoni gets it back. Leaves it over for Monaleris, and he just misses wide. Final 5 seconds here as Ruiz tries to get it through, and one last block by Tony Donatelli, and Baltimore will end its regular season here tonight, winners over the Florida Tropics by a final score of 4-2. So a little too much talent on one side and a few too many injuries. No Guilherme, no Anthony Arico, no Matt Clare, no Max Duluth. I mean, all guys that were expected and have been pretty key contributors from time to time for the Tropics all season, not dressed here tonight, and just not enough firepower offensively out there for Florida, who have kind of lost their offensive touch here over the last 3 games with just 1, 2, and 2 goals. So just 5 games now in their last 3 games. They'll get one more chance to hit the win column next Saturday in Orlando against the Seawolves, a 7:05 start. You can catch that game at www.masl.tv. So for the Baltimore Blast, a good tune-up for the postseason. They will meet Utica City Saturday, April 20th. In Baltimore. That is game 1 Saturday night. We'll be watching here in Lakeland. We hope you in the Mid-Atlantic region can get out to the game and support the Blast as they make a bid for 4 consecutive MASL championships. It won't be easy. Probably a pick'em series against Utica. Milwaukee and Kansas City will be good. The Wave will be favored. And whoever wins that Utica City-Baltimore series will likely have to get through the Wave to get through the finals. The final, once again, here tonight at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, the Baltimore Blast 4 and the Florida Tropics 2. Have a great week, everybody.